And then also, how do I feel about just being able to get psychic information at any time during the day? And then what I'd like you all to do is just close your eyes and imagine that you have either a big giant garbage can or a fireplace or a fire pit. And imagine that you are taking a giant match, a really big match, and you're striking it, and watch the match as it lights. And then look at the flame on the match, and then imagine that you're taking your hand and watch your hand as you light that fire, whether it's in a garbage can or fire pit or fireplace, or you can use another visual of your choice. But I want you to light a fire. And we're just going to do a real quick letting go ceremony. So look down at your paper and you can just start to cross off, go back to where you, the first one where you put down how far can you take your abilities, and just cross that one off because it wasn't far enough. Whatever you had, it still wasn't far enough. Just trust me on that. And then whatever you wrote down as your current limitations and weaknesses, go ahead and make a line through that. So right now I'm asking you all to actually physically make a line through whatever you wrote on your paper if you had written this down. And then what are your current beliefs about viewing the future? If there's anything on there that looks like it's not serving you, then go ahead and cross that off. And then also your beliefs or thoughts about being psychic on a daily, minute-to-minute basis. If there's something there that doesn't look so positive or conducive to actually improving in that area, go ahead and cross that off. And then I would like you to imagine that you're taking this whole piece of paper and actually pick the paper up right now. So everyone pick up your piece of paper if you had written this stuff down. If you didn't write it down, then just visualize yourself holding a piece of paper with words crossed off. And I'd like you to imagine that there is an energy connection between you, between your body and that paper. And imagine, how would that energy connection look? It might be just kind of like a cloud in between you and the paper, or it might be a cord. But imagine that all those things you wrote down, those thoughts, and that piece of paper, there was like an energy connection to you, your body, and what's inside your body. And imagine that you're starting to take that piece of paper and pull it further and further away from you. And then you can either literally like roll the paper up in a ball, or visualize it, or both. And then toss that ball into the fire. And because it's energetically connected to a bunch of stuff that you're letting go of, imagine that when you release that ball into the fire, all the energy that was in between you and that ball is also going into the fire and just pulling those beliefs and thoughts and emotions, which are energy and which were connected to that paper and what you wrote down on the paper. Just imagine it's all coming out of you. So you're letting go of all that energy and just say, I'm dumping into this fire any preconceived notions of myself, any limiting notions of myself and my abilities, of how far I can go, of what I have permission to see and know and do at any given time. I'm just letting all of this go into that fire. And then as you do this, just imagine the fire gets bigger. Just like when you throw a bunch of stuff onto a fire, it'll get bigger and it'll start to crackle and maybe show you some colors. Just dump all of that into the fire. And you can state also to yourself that if there's anything that is not able to release right now, but is the start of the release, that you will continue to just naturally release into this. So you can take that fire and move it off the side of your screen, maybe set it even off to the side. When I say your screen, that's kind of what I just naturally visualize, but I tend to see a screen in front of me. So it's not that you have to be viewing all this on a screen, but just move this off to your field of vision to the side. And just know that for the rest of the class, as we do the different exercises, you will continue to release into this fire. It's going to burn through the whole class, and whatever you're ready to let go of will continue to unload into that. Any limitations? All right, time. We're going to just do a quick exercise with time. Well, a couple little exercises. And I don't want to get too much into an intellectual or analytical discussion of time, but what I'd like to do is perhaps help you rethink or alter your picture of time. We tend to see time as linear. And most of us, when we first started to learn about time or timelines, when we were just in first or second grade, you would draw a timeline on your piece of paper, and the future would be going out to the right, the past would be to the left, and maybe you'd have notches on your timeline, and you'd put like when the Ice Age was, and when BC AC was, and where you were. So we thought of time as linear. So right now, imagine a timeline as you might normally imagine it. And so we tend to see the present behind us and the future ahead of us, and with us right in the middle. But now I'd like you to imagine right now that you're taking this timeline and you're bringing the two ends up and tying them together at the top. So you're creating a circle. And the cool thing is it does create a circle is like a clock. And a clock, we tend to see a clock going clockwise from left to right, down and up and down and up. But actually, the clock does have the ability to go the other way too if it's programmed that way. So just see a circle right now and just tell yourself that time is really more of a circle. It's not a line. Why do we perceive time as we do? I've often thought of that, knowing that our perception of time is really not essentially how time works, but it's still, we have a very strong belief in time and how it works. And one theory I have is that if we didn't think in a linear fashion, we may have a very hard time being able to distinguish from reality, because we might have a hard time knowing if we had a memory of the past and a memory of the future, we may not know, well, what happened, what were we thinking, what happened, what's going to happen. Things could get very confusing. So I believe that the way we think of time is there so that we can just function in the way that we function. But one of the things that we want to let go of in this class is this idea that it's easy to remember the past, but it's hard to remember the future. Basically, the point I want to make here is that when we remember, we can remember the past, we could remember the future. It's not any different. And if you start to think of it that way, that it's just as easy to remember the future as it is the past, it'll make this, it'll get you past some of your mental blocks. Because really, ultimately, what we're looking at here is, why don't we just, from the time we're born, just know pretty much all the time when we want to what's going to happen next. I believe that we all have that ability, whether it happened next or just what's going on about anything. It's just we've set up a whole bunch of blocks for ourselves, or other people set that up. So that's what we're working on here as well, letting all that go. So I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine a screen out in front of you, like a TV screen or a computer screen or movie screen. And to the left of your screen, I'd like you to think of that right now as the past, and come up with one memory, just any memory that you can think of something happened in the past. And see yourself in that picture of the past. And then next to it, imagine something that you think will be happening in the future, something that you're looking forward to happening in the future. Let's say an event you have planned. And now when you look at the images for both of these, you'll see that there really isn't any difference in how they come to you. When you visualize a memory from the past or something you're perceiving about the future, whether or not it happens, it doesn't matter so much. Just for the sake of the exercise, what you'll see is that the way you visualize is really the same. So when we are when we think about the past, we're not experiencing the past, we're interacting with our picture of the past, right? Because your body, something happened to you in your body in the past. When it happened, it was present time, and your body experienced it, and then you formed a series of perceptions, pictures, ideas about it. And then that, as you moved forward, that became a memory. That isn't any different than the pictures that you will be forming of the future, or when the future happens, or let's say you have a vision of the future. You're not actually seeing the future itself, you're seeing your picture of the future, and you're interacting with that. So if I show you, let's say I show you a photo, I ask you to view a photo, which we'll be doing here in just about 10 minutes or so. When I show you what the photo is, you are seeing a photo, but what's happening even more importantly is that you yourself are forming perceptions and ideas and having an experience of the photo. And so it's really those perceptions and ideas and beliefs that you are interacting with even more. The photo may be actually a piece of paper, or it might be images that are projected from my computer over to yours. So there is something physically there. But if your brain didn't come up with the ability to perceive what was there, it would just be a whole bunch of information without you being able to understand it at all. So it's really your brain generates pictures, perceptions, you have emotional responses. It's your response that is more significant even than the picture, because you'll notice certain things in the picture that other people won't notice. You'll feel a certain way about it. Those all belong to you, not to the picture that you're shown in the future. In the same way, your memories are not what actually happened, but they were your perceptions. So your perceptions in the past match your perceptions in the future. Now I'd like you to just go and don't, if your logical mind's just getting confused, or this isn't, I'm just kind of babbling here, don't worry about it. I probably am just babbling. So what I want you to do right now is close your eyes again. And I want you to think of yourself right now. Just think of yourself as you are sitting in your seat, in your chair, wherever you're sitting right now. Just notice how it feels to breathe. Is your breathing fast or is it slow? Notice your body temperature. How does your body feel? How does the air around your body feel? So when you put your attention on your body and your breathing and the temperature, that brings you very much into the present moment. And it has a calming effect. Not only is your body getting more oxygen because now you're breathing a little deeper, but whenever you focus your attention, focused attention is so important. And when you focus your attention, everything just starts to calm down. And when you focus your attention on you, that's when you bring yourself to the present. So whoever's read Eckhart Tolle's book, or books, The Power of Now series, it's interesting because in that book, basically, like if you ask someone who's read the book, what did they get out of it? Well, they got out of it that it can be very helpful to be in the now, in the present. And he has a whole book where pretty much it seems like that's really what he's saying, a whole series of books, and they all come back to the same message. But really what happens is the second you start to think about the present, you go into the present. For me, that was the value of the book. Every time I read the book, on every page, there's the reminder, okay, focus on the now. So that's what we're doing. So what I'd like you to do next is focus on a memory that happened right when you started class. So right when you started class, somewhere maybe a little under an hour ago, or the class started at 6 Pacific Coast time. It's just about 7. So just come up with a memory of what happened when you were first signing on, when you first got on. And just remember, how did you feel? What thoughts were going through your head? Was it easy or difficult? And just notice, how do you feel right now in the present compared to how did you feel an hour ago? And see if you can actually, I'd like you to visualize these two. You might say now and then next to it an hour ago. And as you're thinking about an hour ago, I'd like you to move your energy back to that time. So when I say move your energy, imagine you're taking your life force and you're moving it back to an hour ago of how you felt then. Some of you may not want to do that because you're probably feeling a little better right now. It's always stressful getting into class, but just see if you can move your energy to there. And then from there, I want you to go back even further. So remember when you first woke up this morning. Can you remember this morning? Your first memory of the morning. For some of you, you'll remember when you first woke up. For others, you might remember something else. Come up with a memory close to when you woke up this morning. And see if you can bring all your energy over to that version of you this morning. And now I'd like you to imagine a version of you in 30 minutes from now. So call your energy out of the past. You might bring it back into the present first, And then come up with a visual or a little image of yourself 30 minutes from now. And just imagine what you might be feeling or experiencing 30 minutes from now. And if any doubts or thoughts or distractions come up, just imagine that those thoughts or doubts are like little pieces of paper that just little embers of paper that are floating away and disintegrating, floating out of your head, maybe out your ears, and then just disintegrating. And then just one more, imagine yourself after class, let's say 30 minutes after class. After this class ends tonight, imagine yourself 30 minutes after class tonight. And then just notice maybe how you may feel and what you might be thinking or what you might be doing. And then I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And what I'd like you to do is jump around from these points in time where you take your attention and your energy and just play around with going from one to the other. So 30 minutes after class, 30 minutes from now, the present, when you started class an hour ago, and when you woke up this morning. And if you could add in some other points in between, if you had anything interesting happen or you think something interesting will be happening, but just in your imagination, just go back and forth between each point and just acknowledge to yourself where you are at any given point, going from the past to the future, or what we call the past to the future. And now take 30 seconds and do that on your own. It does take concentration. Okay, and then bring yourself back to the present. And all we just did here was just get you used to going back and forth and seeing it's as easy to go forward as it is backwards if we're using our linear concept of time. And what's happening right now, it's not just where your minds are processing things, your whole energy system, your whole consciousness is registering this. And this is like uh, energy mental gymnastics right now, or calisthenics. Just like you would do if you were about to take a class, you would start with some stretching exercises. So that's all what we just did was there to help us with that. Now, I will just say that this is a great exercise. What you just did here was a great exercise to use for manifesting in terms of using the power of intention. So, for example, let's just have you do this really quickly. Let's have you imagine again in the past something that you really wanted that you now have. So choose something that you now have in your life that you enjoy, that you're glad you have. It could be anything from um, something you really enjoy in your house to good fortune to a relationship. Just choose one thing you're really happy that you do now have. And then just think to yourself, why am I happy that I have this thing? And just visualize it and feel the enjoyment of knowing that it's there in your life. And then I want you to go back into the past of when you were at a point where you wanted this thing. So hopefully, what you chose might relate to it was something that you wanted, and at the point before you had it. If you need to change what you chose because it was something that just showed up that you never thought of before, then go. So do that. So it should be something that you had wanted before. And just remember the state that you were in, the state of mind, your emotions, how you felt at the point when you didn't have this. And how did that feel? And then move again to the present moment now when you do have it. And I'd like you to send a message back to yourself in the past, you right now in the present, who's very happy that you have managed to have this thing, manifest it, create it in your life, have it for yourself. I'd like you in the present to turn to that memory of you in the past and tell yourself in the past, it's going to be all right. We got it. We did it. And then I'd like you to hear a response from yourself in the past. Let yourself in the past give a response to yourself, either a thank you or some kind of message, yourself in the past giving you a message. Maybe I trust you, thank you for the encouragement. And then I'd like you to now think of something that you feel like you don't yet have right now, but something that you would really, really like to have. So be in the present right now. Make sure this is really present, you in the present. What is it that one thing that you would really like to have for yourself? And you know you still want it. You're hoping to be able to see it manifested in your life and get to experience it. Choose what that is. And then I'd like you to imagine yourself in the future and see yourself in the future at the point where you actually are having this thing that you currently are desiring right now, and imagine yourself having it and experiencing it and being as happy about it as you were about the other thing that you did actually manifest in the present. So this is a new thing that you want to have in the future, and now see yourself in the future enjoying it. And then I'd like you to have a little dialogue with your future self. In fact, you can ask your future self a question from the present to the future self. Why don't you do that? Ask your future self a question about this. You can either say a statement to your future self or a question about this. You're having a discussion. you in the present to you in the future. And then have your future self then give you a response. And when your future self gives you the response, you might imagine you're bringing your energy into your future self and turning back around and speaking to yourself now. And have your future self give you an encouraging message. And the message may be one that you weren't aware of, or it might just be some words of encouragement that you are aware of. And then why don't you run over quickly? Imagine there's your future self and imagine a vision of yourself now. And just run over real fast over to where the future self is and give your future self a big hug. And then imagine that your present self, you could see a little picture of your present self. Run back and give yourself a hug, the you in the past. And then I'd like you to see yourself in the middle, one on one side, the future self on one side, the past self on the other side. So see three versions of yourself. And hold hands with both of them. And then have a group hug, all three of you. And as you do the group hug, just imagine that the past self and future self are merging into your present self. So the two merge into you, as does all their energy, and all your energy becomes consolidated into one. All right. And so that concludes that particular meditation. And that meditation is, I have found to be so incredibly helpful to help me bring in or manifest what I want to see in my life. Probably out of all the different visualizations I do for manifesting, that one is really, really helpful. Okay, now what I want to do is just check in with you all before we go on to our next meditation, which is actually the start of our first series of exercises. We'll have, this will be like a meditation, and then after that, it will not really feel like meditating after that. I'm just going to hit the escape here, and I'm going to unmute everybody. And does anybody just have any comments or questions or need anything at this point? Okay. All right, then I'm going to mute you again. All right. So we're going to proceed. Now, if you're looking at my screen here, you're going to see on some of the upcoming pages, I have notes to myself. And I have these notes because if I don't have them right in front of me, I'll probably mess it up and then ruin the whole exercise. So this note here is telling me turn off screen sharing. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop showing my screen. There's no need for you to look at my screen. I'll tell you when you can look at it again. I mean, you can still look at your own computer screen, but I'm going to stop showing mine. And really, when we do this next exercise, it may help to just turn the computer away. You're not going to need to look at your computer. And sometimes it can be a little distracting. So what I'll tend to do is turn it away, or I might like have a cloth that I put over my screen if I find it distracting. Sometimes it's not distracting at all, sometimes it is. Okay, so I've stopped showing my screen here. Okay. Let me just make sure if I really want to make sure you can't see my screen. Okay, no one sees your screen. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so we're going to have you go on a little journey here. And I'll explain the purpose of this exercise when we're done. It should take about 10 minutes at the most. What I'd like you to do is get in a comfortable position. And if you need to get a little bit of water, or hopefully you have a drink nearby, just make your body happy before you go into this. And what I'd like you to imagine is that you're going on a journey. In a sense, the journey's into your own consciousness. So imagine that you are in the center of your head, which is the point of your sixth chakra, the center of your clairvoyance. And imagine that there is a bright red door. And the door has a bright gold doorknob on it, made of pure gold. And when you open up this door, you're going to see a pathway. And the pathway extends out in front of you. And it also extends out behind you. And the pathway is clear glass or clear crystal. Nothing really on it, it's just clear crystal or clear glass, transparent. And what's going to happen is I am going to be taking you into a series of rooms. And I'm going to bring you into the series of rooms. You're going to be walking down the path. I'll direct you which way to go down the path in between each room. But you will have the opportunity to decorate your own path as you're going along. Because right now it's just clear, transparent, neutral, crystal, translucent. And don't get started yet, because I need to get out my timer here. Because I really want to make sure that I am doing 30-second intervals. And so I have a timer here. Okay, and so what I'd like you to do is start to walk forwards on your path. And just imagine that you might look down at your feet. You might look to the sides. You may find that your path starts to curve in one direction. Just slowly, at a comfortable pace, not too fast, not too slow, start to move down your path, walking down your path. And start to feel as if you have full permission to let your imagination decorate your path and lead you in the direction that you would like to be led in. And I'm going to start my timer. And after 30 seconds, you're going to go into a room, and then I'm going to describe to you what's in that particular room. Every room is a unit in and of itself, which contains something in particular. And I will be describing so you won't have to worry about what's in the room, but instead just decorate your path as you're walking along and see where it takes you. I'll be quiet for 30 seconds. And don't stop until I say it's time to stop. Okay, now just stop where you are and imagine that there is a very, very large, heavy door, and this door is pink. And it's pink with a bright golden, pure gold doorknob. And when you open up this door, just even a little bit, something is going to fly out, and you are going to see it's a beautiful butterfly. And then you're going to see there's another beautiful butterfly and another. And as you open up the door and go into this room, you will see that this room is like a tropical paradise filled with millions, or maybe not millions, but enough butterflies for you to be comfortable in the room with the butterflies flying around. And the room isn't just a small little room. It's as if you've walked into a whole butterfly enchanted forest. And imagine that you are walking, the path continues that you are on through this room, and notice the colors of the butterflies. Notice the sound that their little wings make. They don't come too close unless you would like one to come and land on your shoulder. But if you're not comfortable with that, then just say so, and they will all keep a comfortable distance from you so you can enjoy their beauty, but you don't have to have them right near you if you don't like. But if you do, all you have to do is reach out your hand and they will come right to you. They are at your beck and call. And notice how many colors. They're all different colors. Some of them may even be sparkly. And notice what else is in the room, maybe some trees. Where do the butterflies land on? And stand in the middle of this space and see that you can turn 360 degrees and see all of these butterflies. And then you will notice that there is another door on the opposite side of the room. And this door is also pink with a gold doorknob. And now you're going to open up this door and you're going to step back out on the path that's just clear, transparent, a plain path, be crystal, and close the door behind you. You might notice a couple of the butterflies fly away. And then I'd like you to start walking. And I want to make sure everybody's awake, that nobody's getting too relaxed. So if you feel like you're getting too relaxed, bring yourself. You might open your eyes for a second. You might stretch, slap your cheeks, take a drink of something. And then now we're going to continue down the path again. And this is a new path. And you're going to repeat the exercise for the next 30 seconds. I would like you to walk on this path. The only difference is this time you're going to walk backwards on the path. And the nice thing about this is there's really nothing on the path right now so you don't have to worry about banging into anything. But again, as you go along, feel free to imagine something else on the path, or decorate your path, or notice what's on the sides or what the path looks like. And you're going to walk backwards for 30 seconds, just for 30 seconds, when you'll reach a door and get to explore a whole new room. A whole new room you'll get to explore after 30 seconds. And for that room, you will be seeing a yellow door. So go ahead now and just start to walk along that path. And I'm going to count out 30 seconds. All right, and now you're getting to this yellow door, door number 2. And again, I'm going to describe to you what's in the room so you don't have to worry about it. As you start to open up the yellow door, also with a golden handle, you're going to be met with this big flood of water that just starts to flood over you. You'll be about waist deep, but don't be alarmed. You can swim, or it's not that deep, so you can still wade through it. And then go into the room and close the door. And in this room, this is an underwater, well, it's a water but half just up to your waist, but it's a water paradise. And there are dolphins swimming all around. Some are just jumping right out of the air. And feel free now to go ahead and play with the dolphins. Grab hold of them. They're all friendly. In fact, they've been waiting to greet you. And this is a pretty big room. Again, you might see it as a whole ocean within the room. And not only are there dolphins, but you might see off to the side a few mermaids waving hello, or maybe a few mermen waving hello. And enjoy that. Notice the color of the water, the blue-green water splashing against you. Notice how your body feels in the water. And notice how it feels when you put your arms around the dolphins. Is the temperature cool or warm? Just enjoy. Okay, sorry, I'm sure some of you would like to stay longer, but it's time to go. So now on the opposite side of the room for when you came in, swim over to another yellow door with a gold handle, and please exit. Being careful to shut the door behind you so the water doesn't spill out too much on the path. And now here you are again with a whole new path. And this path seems to run sideways. But again, it's just clear, transparent, neutral, nothing on it. As you start to walk, feel free to decorate it, to visualize whatever you would like to visualize on it. And imagine this time that you are walking sideways. So the whole time you're going to walk sideways, kind of like, I forget what that dance move is where you cross one foot over the other, or however you would imagine walking sideways. Might be a little challenging, but pick the easiest way it is to walk sideways. And just go on the path and enjoy your walk. Notice how your body feels on the path. And again, go ahead and decorate the path and what you see alongside the path. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds before we go into the next room. So proceed. Okay. And now you're going to see a black door with a gold handle. And when you open up the black door, you're going to see a checkerboard of a floor, or like a white and black, let's say a white and black square, like a chessboard floor. And you're going to notice that there are some bugs walking around. Now, these are stink bugs, so they don't hurt you and they're not allowed to get anywhere near you. You have an immediate bubble of protection around you. But these bugs are pretty giant. And if you've never seen a stink bug, they're like a black beetle with a hard shell, and they walk really, really slow. So you could totally outrun them if you were worried about them. They don't like people. But one thing that happens is if you touch them, they'll emit this smell. It's kind of like a mushroomy smell. And so, just in this room, you're not going to have to stay here long, but just see these slow walking, large stink bugs just kind of walking around, knowing that they have to keep at least a 4 foot distance from you unless you feel like you want to go to one. Now, it might be fun. These are so big, you can imagine you can just sit down on one and ride it like a horse. So that might be kind of cool. You could jump on one. Um, Even if you don't like bugs, you might try this. Just jump on one, just like as if you're riding a horse, and see if you can ride it around. All right. And you might even kind of notice a little smell in the room like stink bugs. And now we're not going to keep you here long, so go find the door on the opposite side, the black door, and then with a gold handle, and then get out of there and leave those bugs in that room. And then you're going to just go to one more room. But before you get to the room, you're going to see a path going the opposite way that you just went. And this time you're going to walk sideways again, but the opposite way from before. And again, look down at the path. It's a beautiful crystal path. And you're going to walk down that path. And during the 30 seconds, just feel free to decorate the path however you would like. You're just going to one last room and just focus on what it feels like to walk sideways and notice the final journey here. And I'm going to count out 30 seconds again. Okay, and now you're going to see a golden door. The whole door is gold. and the doorknob is silver. And you're going to open up the door. And as you start to open it, this incredible, beautiful light just flows out of the door. An incredibly beautiful light just starts to flood you even before you can open up the door. Extremely high vibrational. And as you walk in, you see there's a party going on. But this isn't just any party. All around, first you'll notice on either side of you, there are sunflowers. Beautiful sunflowers. Some are only a couple inches tall, some are as tall as the sky. And every color imaginable of these flowers all over the room. And you'll see that coming towards you, in the back, the flowers part, and there's some people or beings moving towards you, and you'll see that these are the ascended masters. So everybody is here: Jesus, Mary, um, Lakshmi, Kuan Yin, anyone that you have ever considered to be an ascended master, the angels. You could see lots and lots of angels, and any particular beings that you feel a connection with are here in the same room, and they're all vibrating at that high level vibration of healing and love. And see yourself as you go through this room being bathed in their vibration and bathed in their light. And imagine some are coming over to hug you, you're hugging them. And just say hi to a few of them. And notice as you look down at the ground that as you look, flowers are just popping up, more and more flowers now of every kind and size and color. They just continue to bloom everywhere as you greet all these beings. And while you're in here, you can just let them know that you are working on your psychic abilities, on your ability to hear them better, receive their communication, and to be able to be on your path as much as you can be. And you can just let them know what your intentions are and what you might like help with, whether it has to do with your psychic abilities or anything else in your life. Just tell a few what you would like help with, what you're working on, and that you're really open to doing your part as long as they are helping you as well. And just notice if your body's feeling any sensations. And then you can't stay here too long right now, but no, this is a room you can always come back to. And that when you leave, you will be carrying the vibration that you just were infused with as you leave. So now there's that golden door again with the silver handle on the other side of the room. Say goodbye to them, knowing that you are still going to be able to be in communication with them. And when you open up that door, just imagine as if that door is right back in the center of your head, next to where the other door was that you had entered. And imagine you open up that door and you step out, and now you're in the center of your head, and say hello to yourself there. And then that concludes this part of the exercise. And so I'd like you all, this is really important, open your eyes and stretch. And I am now going to ask you all a question. And I'm going to I want everyone to really be alert, um, come out of meditation because we need a little break from it so we can go back in to our next exercises. And I'll explain this here. So what the goal of this was, what I didn't tell you, some of you may have kind of figured out a little bit, is I wanted to see as you walked along that path, if anybody, as you were imagining your path and what was happening as you walked along it, I wanted to see if anyone was getting perceptions of what they were about to experience in the room. Now, I didn't tell you this because I didn't want your conscious mind. This exercise wasn't for you to consciously know that was what was might happen, but I would just like to hear from anybody. And I'm going to take you off from mute. And I'd like to hear from anybody who at any point from that experience, and I know it's going to be a little noisy right here because we do have some feedback. But if you can just type, why don't you do this? If during that exercise you anticipated in any way what was about to happen with the next room, if that seemed to enter into your walk on your path, can you write a little note in the chat room and just your name will come up. So just write yes or a little note so I know who experienced that. And even if it was kind of subtle. Okay, so I'm just going to start to go in the order. Not everyone will have, but okay, Christine, would you share with us what you experienced?
Yeah, for sure the last one I definitely did. I had this sense that I was fixing to come to a bright room and to the higher energy. And there was as you were right before you were saying on, not necessarily the room itself, but I was like one step ahead of you, so to speak. No pun intended.
Okay, good. And then Catherine.
Mine was very, very subtle. Before I came to the black door and walking sideways, the wall turned into kind of a black onyx, and I was, just feeling the texture of it. And then, you said we're coming to a black door, and the room with the flowers, all the flowers. And before the higher beings, I saw flowers, but I also saw people in my life that I loved before I came to that room.
Okay, very cool. So it wasn't, with some of these, it wasn't that you necessarily saw exactly what was in the room, but it was like you were already tuning into the vibration. Then let's hear from Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Deborah? Deborah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, I knew the butterflies were going to be flying out of that one room. And then the last room, I knew there was going to be filled with light. And I knew there were going to be light beings in the room.
Okay, fantastic. And then let's see. Okay, thanks. And then Teresa, you said, I think so.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering exactly when I saw what I saw. But I know at one point I was seeing kind of, like nature kind of coming up around me, and I don't know if I necessarily saw butterflies and flowers and birds and bugs and all that kind of stuff. And then the last one, all along you've been talking about the crystal pathway, but it was on that very last one that I kind of saw it all shimmery and sparkly and full of light and brightness.
Okay, awesome. And then Brenda, you said that you could see there was a lot. Well, could you just share one or two things that you noticed ahead of time?
Well, I just kind of, when you were talking, I could see going through all the doors in the rooms and seeing everything. But then, like I said, my neighbor rang the doorbell, and I kind of lost connection, so to speak.
Okay, but you at least had that
but I could
experience.
see, you know.
Okay, and then we'll move on. Debra, you're talking about the water. Can you tell everyone about that?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. While I was on the crystal path, water started to cover the crystal path, and then you said open the door and see the water at waist high.
Oh, good. I was hoping someone would experience that. Okay, anybody else is there anyone who'd like to maybe either had a different kind of experience or just questions or anything they'd like to share?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Whoever wants to speak, go ahead.
I can go ahead. It's Lori.
Great. Hi, Lori.
I saw water. Yes, hi. I imagined water or thought of water before we got to that room. And then before the last room, I started seeing more evidence of people. And I also started thinking about Christ and vibrating with his vibration.
Wow, that's really fantastic. And that was even the first person I mentioned for that last one.
Yeah.
Did you guys like have a sense of what I was going for here, or did this just pretty much happen?
Just happened.
Can you repeat that?
I was just wondering, did you guys kind of know that I was what I was I was trying to achieve here before? Did anyone kind of realize that I was actually intending for you to see what was going to be happening in the future? Or did you just did that thought cross your mind, or were you just experiencing the meditation?
I was just
It did not
experiencing
occur
it.
to me.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me.
Okay.
I was trying to follow direction.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was doing.
And I was getting a little sleepy too.
Yeah.
Too.
It was a little long. It if I did this again, I'd probably keep it a little shorter. So that you didn't get sleepy. Okay, I'm gonna put you all on mute again, but if anyone like has anything else they didn't share that they want to just put in the chat box and then I can share for you, we'll do that. So I'm gonna mute you all. Okay, it's just with all these people, it's a little noisy. Okay, so I'm very, very pleased with this. And if you didn't have any like precognitive experience with this one, don't worry about it. I didn't expect everybody would, but I created this meditation, and I have to admit this is the first time I've done this, so this was an experiment with you all. But it was based on so many times when I've been teaching a class, probably just about every class or every other class. I tend to lead people in meditations, and usually someone will say, "Wow, like you were about I started to visualize that before you said it. So like one time I was telling someone, I was about to tell them to visualize a red ball coming into the top of their head and going down to their feet, an energy ball. And they said, well, I saw that energy ball before you even said it. And this will happen so many times. And it's always interesting to me because there's certain meditations I do that I tend to repeat. And so I know where I'm going with it. But sometimes in a meditation, I will just start to say something or give an example that I never did before. And then sometimes when I do that, the person will say, oh, wow, that's what I saw before you said it. And in that case, I don't always know if what I said what that I was psychically picking up from them or they were picking up from me. It gets really interesting. But so based on that, I created this meditation because I thought, well, if this just spontaneously happens, then I'll create a space. The space was just the path. I chose just clear, neutral, something to walk on, but that something would be plain enough so that your own mind could have things happen to it. And I also chose things that moved. You'll notice the butterflies moved, the dolphins moved, the bugs moved, the masters had a very vibrant energy. They were moving as well. I combined the flowers with the masters. I did intend originally that those were going to be two different rooms, but I was sensing the exercise was already long enough. Um, so, so sorry, I get distracted when I see the messages in the chat room. Oh, Linda said that good, I'm getting some more comments. Linda said that she was following directions and did feel the presence of Christ coming out of the black door just as she opened it. My light merged with his and the others as I entered the room. It was surreal and beautiful. Um, and then Deborah said, I seemed to be in two places at the same time, apart knowing some of what was to come and some of my own visualizations, which were much faster than the instructions. So so I chose moving objects because what I've seen is oftentimes when I give people objects to remote view, when I start to move the objects, they're able to see that better. So there's something about the movement, something about the interaction, and also the vibration. And then and even sometimes people will tune into what's positive. Sometimes like the black door with the bugs was icky. I actually have a bug phobia, and I'm sure some of you do not like bugs, while others do enjoy bugs. So um, what I'd like to do next, I'd like to move into our next portion of the exercise. Let me just ask, I'm going to take you off mute. Is Thomas here? Thomas, did you make it to class? Okay, I just realized I may have forgotten to give someone the sign-in information. So what I'd like to do here is I'd like to just take like a 3-minute break. And I'm gonna put you on mute and give you like 3 minutes to just, if you have to run to the bathroom or stretch, because we're really going to be very busy over the next 45 minutes. And I'm going to just make sure this one other person has the sign-in information. So take 3 minutes and then meet back here. Okay, I just want to make sure, can you guys all hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, okay, good.
Yep.
All right, so we're meeting back here. Okay, I'm going to mute you again. All right, so again, if you need to say anything else, you can put it into the chat window. There were a couple people who apparently I didn't get the sign-in info, so they may be joining us late. I hope they do. This is a good time to join. Okay, so now for the fun part. Hopefully that last exercise was fun, but this will be you won't be in as deep like a meditation state for this. And I'll pace it to see how. I have several photos, but we probably won't get to all of them. I'll just pace it to see how you're keeping up. And we'll save our discussion for at the very end after this series of photos. So what this is could be photos of anything. Later we'll be doing where I'll give you some people to look at, but these photos could have some people in them, but they may or may not. So it's not about reading people, it's about getting some quick impressions from what you're about to see coming up. And I'll tell you the time frame, so you'll kind of know what to expect, or you will know what to expect. So what's going to happen is I would like you to just have your paper out in front of you, and hopefully you have enough paper. I'd like you to use a different piece of paper for each one of these. If you don't have enough paper, then try to do like one on each side. So I have 8 in this series. So what that means is if you either have 8 pieces of paper or 4 that you could turn on either side. And for the first one, I'd like you to write number 1 at the top. And so you're going to have a whole minute, 1 minute exactly. And I just like the technique, if you have a particular technique you like to use to tune in, definitely go ahead. You could just look at your piece of paper and just see what impressions start to come to you or what you feel compelled to write or draw. Or you can close your eyes and imagine you're looking at a screen inside your mind and just wait and see what impressions come to you. And then whatever impressions come to you, write them down on your paper. Don't leave anything out. Don't edit it. I guarantee you that there's going to be things that come up that you're like, I don't know what this is, but of course you won't know. So even if it makes no sense, you're not expected. I would be surprised if anything makes sense. So whatever comes to you, just put it on your paper. Sketching is great. If you see a shape, if you see anything, if you see a word, a color, write it down. And what will happen is after 1 minute, and I'll tell you when we're going to start, after 1 minute, I will show you the photo. And then you can write on your piece of paper, like you can circle whatever seemed to match or put a star next to it. And then we'll go on to the next one. And we're going to go through these pretty quick. So you will get to see in a minute what the picture is. And then you will have like a few seconds to evaluate it. And then I'll tell you when we're getting ready for the next. When we're all done with the series, that's when we'll have our discussion and you can share with each other. If with one you're off or you don't do so well or you didn't get anything, just put that behind you and let each one be a brand new experience. Don't ever let any one picture or session define whether or not you can do this. Alrighty, so go ahead and just start to focus either with closing your eyes, looking at a screen, or looking down at your paper. And at the count of 3, I'm going to time 1 minute and then I will show you this picture. I'm just getting this ready here. Okay, start. Okay, stop. And I am now going to show you the picture. So that was the picture. It's a baby under a green blanket. And so if anybody notices anything that you drew or saw, circle it, make a little note for yourself. Take a few seconds for that. Really look at the photo and notice, like, sometimes what'll happen is like a hand position, if there's a person, or positioning will have appeared or something like that. So just really look at the photo, notice if there was anything matching. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I'm going to stop showing my screen now. Okay, now we're going to get ready for the next one. The next one will be photo 2. Okay, so when I count to 3, you're going to start to view the next one. 1, 2, 3. You have 60 seconds. All right, stop. I'm now going to show you your feedback, so stop. I know we're going through these quickly. We're going through these quickly for a reason. I'll explain later. Showing my screen. And what we have here is a scene of a cowboy with a cowboy hat with his horse. And picture it's just silhouette. Now, some of you, those of you who tuned in at all, might have seen an image of a horse, or you might have just seen some kind of silhouette. You might have seen some kind of pink. The information will come in different ways. There's also a fire here, sky. So make your notes, just observe what you have on your paper. with with the picture. And as you start to go through these, you may notice if there was something you didn't write down, but that you should have because it matched. And just let that be a lesson for the next time. Oh, okay. Someone is saying they don't see it. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, maybe you can see this better now. I'll unmute you guys in a few seconds. Okay, let me just unmute you so I can. Oh, okay. So someone was saying they couldn't see it before, but it took a while for this to show up. If anyone can't see photo 2, just send me a chat. When I'm all done with these 2, if anyone didn't get to see one or you want to see it again, you can let me know, but we'll wait till we're done. Okay, so whatever you're experiencing, just if you have any confusion, if you have any concerns, just let those go out of your mind. For those of you who know about grounding and grounding cords, where you just connect a cord from the base of your spine going deep into the earth, using any object you'd like, go ahead and ground yourselves and just let go any feelings of stress, confusion. And if you bring yourself to your third eye, to the center of your head where your third eye is, and imagine your third eye is opening up, that may help as well. Now I am going to, let's see, what I'm going to do with this next one is just, I'm going to keep sharing my screen, but I'm going to just hide this here. So there, well, actually, no, I'm going to stop showing my screen. Okay, next one will be, I stopped showing my screen. Next one, photo number 3. I'm going to give you a minute for this, but then I'm going to start cutting down the time after that. So for the next one, for photo number 3 that you're going to see in 1 minute, you are viewing now what you're going to see in 1 minute. So just let go of whatever you were seeing before. At the count of 3, I'm going to let you start. So 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and describe the photo and sketch the photo that you see in 1 minute starting now. Okay, stop. I am going to show my screen. Here is the feedback photo for photo number 3. It is a guy and a girl kissing each other in the rain. Go ahead and take a look at that, really study it. It's believed that what happens during the time that you study your feedback or experience the future event actually can influence your session and how well you're able to describe it. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but what I'm saying here is it is important to take a look at the picture and to really study it and then your session and see, did you get any sense of this? Some of you may have gotten a vibration at least with this one, or a feeling, and that's great too. So circle whatever you got correct, or if you want to make any notes to remind yourself for our discussion, go ahead. And then moving right along. Okay, is there anyone who cannot see photo 3? Okay. Okay, so I want you all to get ready. This next one, you're going to have 30 seconds for. So if you have any final notes to make for photo 3, then set it aside. I'm going to stop showing my screen. And remember, I'll make sure I show you to these again. So if anyone feels like they need to see it again later on, I'll give you a chance for that when we're done with class. Okay, so I'm going to hit stop showing my screen, and I'm going to give you only 30 seconds. And what you're going to do here, 30 seconds will not be a problem because your consciousness, your subconscious, and all that is able to deliver the information to you knows that you just need to get it quicker. So the information will come to you quicker. Okay, so get ready. Get prepared. I'm going to tell you when to start here in just a sec. Okay, go ahead and start. All right, then go ahead and stop. Just write down any final notes. If any part of you is getting frustrated or irritated, that's normal. Not that we desire that, but that is normal, and let that go. Because all that would be is your logical mind struggling or say, I can't, whatever. If there's anything you're battling with inside of you, just give those thoughts, the I can't, or this is too hard, or the frustration, breathe into it and release. You're being pushed. Some of you are being pushed past your limits, and that's all. So as soon as you let those go, just let yourself experience the next part of this. So, okay, I'm going to show my screen. And this is photo number 4. It was a bunny rabbit and some flowers. Some purple flowers, some yellow and white daisies, little bunny rabbit with its ears sticking up. Go ahead and see if there's any matches on your paper. If anyone's having any problem, you can send me a chat. If anyone can't see this on my screen. Okay, We're going to do the next one. So moving right along. Remember, I'm moving fast because if I move fast, then you have no choice but to just let go of your need to control or to be whatever you need to be, and just go with the flow. It really doesn't matter whether you get it or not. Just continue on and know that every session is different from the next. Next one, we're also going to do 30 seconds. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And again, if anyone is having problems, if they're feeling upset, anything, just send me a chat so I know. I'm going to stop showing my screen now. Okay. Hold on just a second before we do the next one. All right. Photo number 5. So at the count of 3, you have 30 seconds. Just relax and really think of it like the information from the photo is just going to emerge onto your screen or emerge onto your paper or into your consciousness. Ready, set, go. Stop. Okay, here's your feedback. Photo number 5 is a ship, like a pirate ship, out in the ocean with a whole bunch of little boats around it. So notice, everybody, if you had any matches there. And I just want to, if anybody is feeling like, I just want to see, here, I'm going to take you off mute for a second. Okay, I have 3 more planned, but I just want to see how people are doing. Are you getting burnt out or are you ready for 3 more?
I can do it.
We can do 3 more.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to put you on mute. Okay, you're on mute. I'm going to stop showing my screen. Okay, I am going to move to the next one. All right, so again, this time I'm going to go back and give you a full minute. Or no, I'm only, for this particular one, no, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So you get 30 seconds. Get ready, get set, go. Okay, stop. I'm going to show you your feedback. This is the feedback for photo 6. Photo 6 is a picture of a pretty tulip. Just a simple reddish tulip, pinkish reddish with a white background. Compare it to what you saw or had down. Okay, and then next, we're going to give you 30 seconds for the next one, and then so you're viewing just the next one. You're going to view what you're going to see on the screen that comes up. You're going to view it in 30 seconds from now. So now I'm going to stop showing my screen. I'm going to go to the next one. You have 30 seconds. At the count of 3, you can start. 1, 2, 3, start. Okay, stop. It's interesting for me how some of these, for some, the time seems to go really slow as I'm looking at my stopwatch, and for others, it seems to go really fast. That seemed to go really fast. Okay, I'm going to show my screen. All right, you should all be able to see the screen. And it is a picture of, actually, I think that's supposed to be George Bush with a clown face on. So I would expect, let's see, someone's saying they can't see any of the pics when I take my screen down. Brenda, let me just unmute you because you, here, I'll take everyone off for a second. Brenda, are you having trouble seeing the screen?
I can only see the screen when you put your screen back up, so I can't see any of the pictures.
You can't see any pictures at all? Like you're
But
not.
it just could be my computer, because my computer's old.
So are you saying like right now you are not seeing a photo on your screen?
No, I can see the photo when you put your screen back up. I can see the photo, but when you take your screen down, all I see is the the meeting for today.
Oh, well, that's how it's that's exactly how it's supposed to be because I'm taking it down because I don't want you to see the screen.
But I don't see anything though.
Well,
Is that what we're supposed to?
right. Well, when I take my screen down, you won't see anything. When I put it back up, you'll see whatever I have on there. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's just supposed to be white?
Yeah.
A blank screen?
A blank screen when I take it down.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, we're almost done. So you could also see there's American flag behind him. Someone might have gotten that. All right, so now we have one more left. So for this last one, I'm going to give you a full minute again, which should feel like a luxury now. So get ready. This is going to be for photo number 8. I'm going to stop showing my screen. So you won't see anything but the GoToMeeting control panel probably on your own screen. And okay, get ready. Okay. And go ahead and go. Begin. All right, stop. Okay, so I'm going to show you the last one in the series, photo 8. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen, and you can see what I have in the upper left-hand corner is a golden, I think it's like a wedding band or wedding ring, a golden ring with diamonds. I put it up here. I could put it wherever I wanted, but I had it up here because many times the placement of something in a photo will appear to you. I have that happen a lot where I may not even know what it is, but I'll know like it's up to the right side. Or if it's something that leans or is like upside down, I'll know the positioning of it before I'll even be able to describe what it is. So I put it here in case anyone would have that experience. But now I'm moving it around, so you guys might have even seen it moving around. I'll just put it down here in case someone couldn't see it that high up at the top. Okay, so now I'd like to just spend a few minutes having a discussion, and I'm going to unmute you. Okay, actually, let me see if I can. I'm going to mute everyone again. And I'm going to see if I can individually unmute people. Oh, maybe. Okay, well, hopefully the sound will be okay. Let's just go down. I'll just ask, Anne, is there anything that you would like to share?
I had a really tough time with about the first 3, and so I just kind of didn't get into. Suddenly about 4, I started picking up with shapes, and sometimes I would get like we got. In fact, it really wasn't until I got to 5 with the ships, and what I said to myself, there was something. I could see something tall, and to me it felt like prickly. And I don't know how to explain, but that was the ship. Huh. And then later on, then I got the shape of George Bush's mouth. And in this last one, I could get the shape of the ring as if you were to draw what that picture looks like. I didn't get that it was round. I got that shape. I don't know how to, which is more like a squashed ring. Anyway, but that's about all I was getting.
Okay, thank you. And let's hear from Brenda.
There wasn't any connection with me on this exercise at all because I'm having computer issues, and so there wasn't any energy with me with this one.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go on to Catherine.
Oh, okay. I was getting like very detailed pictures, but then when you showed the photo, it was nothing of what I saw. But then I would pick up different things, shapes and things, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's something I picked up, like the first one with the baby. There was like nothing in there that I had seen, but I had seen a flag, and the way that I drew it, because I don't draw very well, was kind of like the position of the left hand, my left, the way that looked. And I found what was happening is I was seeing things like the photo, like the next photo would show up. Like I saw a horse in the first one and a horse in the second one, and then it showed up. and then the flag I saw first on, but then it shows up later. The one with the girl and the guy kissing. I saw like landscape, but the first thing I saw before the landscape was exactly the shape of the flower that was on her dress.
Mhm.
So, you know, just little things like that where overall my first reaction was like, oh, I suck at this. But then there was like little things that would just pick up, you know, the whole thing with the ocean and the ship. I saw the ship earlier, before I got there. And then for the ocean, I saw like underneath, I caught, you know, life going on in the water. So then when you showed the picture, it's like, oh, well, okay, I was underneath all that.
Yeah, and that's
So,
terrific because a lot of times it's not just that you're viewing the photo, you're actually like viewing what's actually there or where your attention would just naturally go. And because there's so many
mhm,
in a row, that will happen. Like even though we're telling you, you know, focus on the one that's the next one, your consciousness has the ability to focus on any of them. And oftentimes it'll choose the one that it has the most like interest or that it can understand the most. So
mhm,
that's very normal. The more you practice, though, like ultimately, you can tell yourself, what I really want to see is what I'm supposed to see, the next one and just the next one. But it's a
right.
fantastic, but definitely the fact that you are getting anything is really terrific. And the more you do this, the more you recognize how it works.
Mhm.
And again, don't feel like you have to see the photo exactly as it appears. Usually, it's not going to
Right.
happen. You're going to see one
Well,
aspect.
what I found really funny is I don't draw well. And so I would try to draw what I was visualizing, and the drawing would be so off, but then what I drew would kind of reflect what was in the photo. So it was very odd. I was like, oh, that was a very strange thing.
And
So
and that'll happen.
interesting.
Yeah, that'll happen a lot too. That's why it's great to sketch because your sketch or drawing will oftentimes look like it, even though you may have interpreted it or seen it differently. But what you see on the
Exactly.
paper will often, so a lot of times people will look at your paper and be like, oh, wow, you totally nailed this. While you're like, I don't even think I got it, but okay. Chris, thank you. Christine.
Um, I did better in the beginning, like 7 and 8. I just started like I don't. I must have been getting wiped out or something because it's later. You know, it's 10:30 over here.
Yeah.
But I got shapes, and I did shapes, and I got number two really well. Number one, two, and three, but really two. But I noticed that what I did better on was things that I related to, like things I didn't care about, like, well, I like wedding rings, but I didn't relate to that right now, and I didn't relate to the ships at all. I mean, or no, it was the clown. As a matter of fact, clowns kind of creep me out sometimes. And it was like the things that I relate to. I got like past and passionate. I mean, like like the ones that had animals in. I mean, it was like I was all over it. But some things I just didn't have passion for or care about. I just I didn't get.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't get well. I didn't get a lot. Like the other ones, I would have like a bunch of little shapes that would match.
that's
But
very normal. Well, thank you. And then let's hear from Deborah.
Hi. Let's see. I would say that I didn't have much success until about the seventh photo, and that's when I wrote down that I saw a starry night, but it was during the day, and that there were tents or I saw falls. Um, and as I look back over my notes, I kind of wonder, am I more in the storytelling about the photos versus seeing the actual photos? But um, I started as time went on to try to actually see the pictures, and that's when I got something for number 7, and a little bit of number 8. That's it.
Okay, thanks. And let's just, I want to make sure we have time for everything. So does, there's still like half the class I haven't heard from. Is there anyone who would really like to share either a question or a success that you had? Okay, Lori, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I just wanted to share. Oh, I got a blanket for the baby in the blanket, but the blanket I got was like something that you use on July 4th. So I don't know if that's a hit or not. For number
Sure.
5.
If you saw a blanket, definitely.
Okay, good. Then for the pirate ship, before you showed us that, you said just let it come on your screen and merge with your screen. And I think that was really helpful because I saw people in a boat on the water near a dock.
Wow,
So that was a pretty good hit.
Yeah, I would say.
And yeah. And then for George Bush, I had man faces us. And then I think this is a pun. He was in front of a trash can, and I think they kind of trashed George Bush in that picture.
That's great. So you saw some of it, how it literally looked, and then maybe that trash can was a symbol too. So you kind of had a little bit of both. Okay, great. Anybody else?
So Teresa,
Uh-huh.
I had kind of a mixed results, I guess. And kind of like Catherine said, I had really detailed pictures, but they weren't necessarily the same. But then, when, like on that first one, when Baby in the Blanket came up, I thought, wow, I didn't get anything like that until I started circling things that I'd written down that made sense. Like I had green, I had a red flyer wagon, which I guess makes you think of a kid, and then I had sand and ocean um, and kind of some of the colors in there were kind of sandy and looked sort of like the lines of the ocean and the sky. And then I had this image of a sand bucket and a shovel, and they were kind of at the same angle as the baby. So that was kind of like I thought that had nothing to do with what I saw, but then when I started really thinking about it, it was all related. It was just very far removed from what the picture was. But then on the second one, I had a couple things that, like I wrote down 2 things at first that didn't make a lot of sense, but then I wrote down purple, landscape, country or farm, men, male, plaid shirt, 40 minutes. I mean, I felt like everything the last 3/4 of what I wrote down really fit. And then on the next one, I had just random references to love. Like I had puppy, rainbow, race car. Like to me, those are super vague references to, the passion and love. So I feel like I had really mixed reviews. I had some things that completely related, some things that were more sentiment, and then other things that were just like more pictures. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kind of funny, but I felt like I had at least one thing in each one that seemed to really fit.
Fantastic.
Put it in a different way.
And then let's hear from Lori. I don't think we've heard from you at all tonight. Hey, Lori.
Lori. It was like diminishing returns for me. I started out strong, and then I felt like I was getting weaker. And when I've done remote viewing, it was in Lori Williams' class, so I did a very different style, So I knew I was doing like spray cat type things of making pictures in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I started out really strong, and then it was like, I don't know, I just got diminishing returns. On the one with the kissing, I had a very strong sense that I wrote the word sucking. I felt like there was my image was like a sky and something was being sucked into it. I didn't know if that counted as kissing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and this is, definitely a whole different approach than when you do a whole full session. But The more you do this, the more practice you get, the better and better you get at it. Okay, great. Anyone else want to share? Okay. Well,
This story again. I just
uh,
wanted to say something. Usually, I get like shapes, and on the one where it was the ships, I got. Maybe it's not even worth noting, but when you said let a picture come in, I got like this huge force field coming across the center, and I thought, well, it's a huge fire or it's a huge waterfall. So I was really surprised when it was the pictures of the big ship with little ships around it, because it's so unusual to not get at least the shape and the structure of a picture to get something. So
well,
anyway,
that makes sense though, because especially if you were putting yourself right there, many times if something is moving and there's a lot of energy, that will be the first thing you tune into, or at least that's how I am. Like in almost every session I do, I will see movement and energy first before I get anything else. So if you had more time and you had that feeling, all you'd need to do is just say, okay, there's something here moving in the middle. It's splashing up. There's energy. There's maybe water, and then you could explore that further. I would either move myself to it or put my pen on where I was sensing it was and ask, let me get more information about what is behind this movement or causing it. So that makes total sense to me.
okay.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to like share their actual session and like email it to me, maybe even if you scan it or take a picture of it and email it to me, then I could kind of compile some of your sessions and maybe put them on like the seventhsight.org, my social networking site, where there's a link from my main website. So if anyone wants to send me like their notes or their session or anything like that, if you know how to scan it and upload it and send it as an attachment, that would be really cool. Or if you want to share anything you didn't have a chance to share, feel free to do that. I did have some other exercises planned, but well, are you guys up for one more, just viewing one more thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do next, let me just see here what we have coming up next. Okay, I'm going to skip over, we had our discussion. I'm going to skip over our reading people section. These were some other cool ones I was going to do. Okay. We're not going to get to our reading people one. We'll save that for like another class. But I have a class coming up, like another one like this, where we'll focus more on the people. And that one would be like reading people clairvoyantly. But okay, so for what I want to do now, and I think I can stop showing my screen. I'm going to stop showing my screen for a minute. This is an experiment. Okay, you guys are going to view an object, and you may not get to see the object, but it'll be described to you verbally. And what I want you all to do, you're all going to view the same object. We'll call this object number 1. And you're going to have, you'll have 3 minutes to describe this object. You know what, let me put you on mute here because it's too noisy. Okay. There's an object called object number 1. It's an object that is actually going to be chosen in the future. So you guys are all going to view it now, but you're viewing what we're calling object number 1. And then you'll at least get to hear about what this object is. So go ahead and on the top of your paper, write object number 1. And your task is to describe in as much detail what object number one, describe it. And here's a little hint on your paper. Once you start to get impressions, you can describe like the top of it, the bottom of it. You can go outside, you could go inside it. Remember to move around the object. You can look at it from different angles, close up, far away. You just let a stream of information come wherever you place yourself. You can hold it in your hands. You can view it on your screen. You can go to it. You can bring it to you. So play around with this. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, which should seem like an incredible luxury after how fast you were viewing before. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this. You are viewing what we are calling object number one. Okay, so at the count of 3, just let the impressions come to you. They can come to you, you could go to it, using whatever techniques you would like. Just don't leave anything off your paper and sketch. Go ahead, get started. All right, you can stop. Okay, so everybody stop. And just at the bottom of your paper, put end session, E-N-D, end session. And put the time, and that just is a signal to yourself that you're totally done viewing. And now what we're going to do, I wish we had more time, so because when I do my 12-week training programs, we always like to hear what everyone gets, but usually those classes are 6 people or under, so we won't have time to hear right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to now choose the object that you already viewed. So now we're here in the future. The future is happening every moment, passing. Now we're in the future, now we're in the future. But object number 1 is still to be selected in the future. And what I would like, first I need, this is what we're going to do. We're going to select, one of you is actually going to go pick the object. And just so you know, this isn't planned ahead of time. One of you will pick the other one who will then select the object. So first what I need, oh, sorry, someone just said I sound far away. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot I had my headphones plugged in. Did you guys hear what I just here, let me repeat this here. Did anyone not hear what I said till now?
No, we could hear you.
Okay.
We can hear.
Good. Okay. So what we're doing is, first I want someone to volunteer to select the person who will then pick the object. So who wants to volunteer to select the person? Just send me a chat saying I will. Okay. So let's see. So a bunch of people said they would. Okay. All right. So let's have Teresa select the person. So now I want everyone to volunteer. Whoever's willing to go select an object, just say I will.
I will.
Or I mean, put it in your chat. Put it in the chat. Okay. Let's have okay, so it's going to be up to, wait, who did we decide was going to do the selecting?
Teresa.
Okay, so Teresa, it looks like you have to choose between Naomi, Michelle, Linda. Did anyone else volunteer? I'm mixing these up.
Lori.
Or Lori. So between, you either choose Naomi, Michelle, Linda, or Lori.
Or the other Lori.
Or, yeah, which?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah, I think I volunteered.
Okay, so Michelle, you have been chosen to go choose the object. Now, I know you did the session. Hopefully that won't kind of be confusing, but just what the object I'd like you to choose, whatever you choose, have it be have it be more interesting than just like a rock. Like you wouldn't want to choose just a rock or just a crystal. You'd want to choose something like a little bit more interesting with more going on. So go ahead and choose the object. And then what I want you to do when you have the object, just choose one. So it's going to be really important. Like make up your mind fast and don't fluctuate between a couple. And then I want you to take the object and I want you to like make some kind of big deal out of it being that object. Like I want you to hold it up in the air, and then I want you to write into the chat window what it is, and I want you to declare this is the object. And if there's any way, Michelle, could you take a picture of it with your iPhone?
I can take a picture of it and send it to you.
Yes.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that while I'm on the phone with you. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't see the chat screen anymore. All I have is the regular screen.
Okay.
I'm not sharing my screen right now. Right now, you shouldn't be able to see my screen.
What I don't see is the chat, where to write a chat.
Oh, okay. If you probably have to open it. So do you see the word chat? No. There should be a drop-down menu next to it, like it'll say webcam, then chat.
Oh.
There's a little arrow to the right of that.
Yeah, nothing happens when I click on it.
Nothing happens? Huh. Did you have a question? Because we can kind of talk a little bit while we're waiting.
No, it was just that she was going to post it on the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have her. She'll send me a picture of it, and then I'll be able to show it to you. Oh, you already sent it?
Check your text. Yeah, I texted it to you.
Oh, you texted it to me? Okay, hold on.
I thought we were going to be reading another picture, though.
You were reading an object. You were viewing an object.
Oh, now I know.
Wait, Michelle, I don't see. You said you texted me a picture?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I didn't. I'm going to try to send it to you again.
Can you email it to me? Do you know how to? Can you email it to me?
Yeah, I will certainly work on that. Hold on one second. Let me see.
And while she's doing this, does anyone have any questions about anything so far? Michelle, if you you know how to go to your pictures and open up the picture?
Yes, I just got that. Okay, wait. And okay, I'm going to send you the picture.
Okay. All right, so just a moment of suspense. And so what we're showing here is that you do have the ability to view something in the future that has not yet been selected until the future. And you'll see how this works in just a minute. I am going to go to my email and hopefully.
Okay, I'm able to do this here. Okay. Here.
Okay.
I got it. Hold on, Deb.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I have a quick
Empty
question.
subject. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm just sending it. I'm sending it without a subject.
Okay. Did someone have a question while we're working on this?
Yeah, this is Teresa. I have a question too, because I feel like I came up with almost like 3 different objects, and I'm wondering if you know, if maybe someone else had chosen something, if that might have been one of my objects, and then, you know, like if I was maybe seeing some of the possibilities.
Well, I'll just say let's not even talk about it until you see what it is. Right? You never want to assess or judge or figure anything out until you actually even know what it is. Right? So I am going to show my screen, and thank you, Michelle. You did this very quickly. And so this is the object that was chosen. And let's just postulate as we go to look at it that there really is no other object in existence except for this, because this is the one that you're actually getting the feedback on. So I'm going to show you my screen. And what we have here is a calculator.
Oh, not even close.
Okay, well, I want, before you like declare that you're not even close, Because again, how this works is a lot of times you're not going to actually get the object, but there might be some matches. You might have some numbers. You might have a square. There's a pen in the picture. Just kind of look back at what you wrote. Really go back through your notes. Look for colors. Look for perceptions. And for some of you who haven't done too much remote viewing, the first thing you're going to have to one of the first things you start to learn is that many times you'll have gotten kind of a bunch of nouns, which don't turn out to be it. What those are, we call them in remote viewing lingo, analytic overlay. But what you'll start to see sometimes is that if you stuck to the descriptors, those are what was more correct. So let me hear. Okay, well, right now it says, Linda wrote, she said, I wrote metal, the letter S, and here she's noting there's 3 5s, which totally looks like the letter S, and a bunch of shapes. Very cool. Anybody, if you guys are noticing any matches, just why don't you write in the chat box what you're noticing as some of the correspondences, and I'll just read them because it's a little noisy here. So I'm going to just put you guys on mute, but I will watch the chat box and read what's there. So take a minute, and I want to start seeing comments from everybody. Just go back to your session and look at this, and I'll show you a picture. Just start to send me some chat messages. Okay, so Teresa saw a rectangular shape with buttons. She says the buttons were on the side. Shiny, glossy on top, gray with white on side, and black underneath. Excellent. Lori says she was way off. I saw a tree with a swing, warm from the sun, warm path under the swing, gates that were open. Maybe there was something for Lori's. Maybe her subconscious was trying to tell her that something was opening up, where maybe this was turning on. Not sure. Naomi saw boxy shape. Let's see. Boxy shape, long as it is wide, square shape, brown woody color. Michelle, I was going to send a picture of red wine in a glass, then change to calculator. Okay. Michelle, you probably didn't want to just tell us that because that solidifies the other thing that you were thinking of. So I know you shared that because in case someone else got that one. It's a little tricky here because someone else might have and will ask, but the more of a big deal you make about the thing you didn't choose, the more that becomes an alternative. We'll have a discussion here about that in a minute. Catherine, I wrote metal and plastic. That's about it. I saw a medieval weapon, ball and chain on a rod, but fake for like a Halloween costume, silver. No, Michelle, don't worry. I'll explain this in a second. This stuff gets very confusing. Brenda, I saw a ball that was round sewn together. Then I saw juggling balls, egg-shaped, multicolor and squishy, made of leather. Then I saw a solid glass cold sphere that was like the depth of the ocean. Let's see. My other objects, Teresa's saying her other objects were a big red squishy ball with liquid inside. Okay, so there's things inside, and there's probably maybe not liquid, but part of what you would have been. And people are seeing squishy. Let me take you guys off mute. Michelle, can you describe some of the sensations of this calculator? Is this solid or but the buttons are squishy, aren't they? You can talk, Michelle.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh.
They do have a kind of a squishy texture to them. Yeah, they do have a squishy texture to them.
Okay, cool. The longer you guys do this, the more perceptions you would get. And you can see here, Michelle, I think this is a really great object that you chose, because there's like an inside part, there's a definite square shape. There's so many square shapes. There's if someone went inside, they may have gotten like the mechanical parts. So I think this was a great object. Some objects are better than others. And what I was saying before, I'm just seeing if there's anything else here. Definitely some of you were tuning in. So if we even look at, like, I would say one that seems really strong, Linda's, the letter S's in a bunch of shapes. That was really good. A lot of these you were getting aspects of. So I would say this experiment did work, at least for some of you, where you did choose what you were going to see in the future. And if we had time and you read me everything you wrote, I can guarantee you guys. Oh, Deborah says, I got an object with small square-like shapes where light could shine through. That's fantastic. So I guarantee you, if I went through your sessions, I would point out things to you that right now you're just like not even noticing as a hit. So what I was saying before is the future can impact the present, being your present session. So if you're given confusing feedback later on, let's say like I showed you two pictures, you very well could easily view the other picture. The word for that is displacement, where you would be viewing, you would be being psychic, but you're seeing like the other thing that wasn't really the one you were supposed to see. That happens all the time. It's actually a big problem in remote viewing, and particularly in certain experiments, certain projects, that becomes a big problem when there's different photos to choose from. So what I was saying to Michelle, this is where she had like I would say this would be a catch-22 situation, and I would have a hard time deciding too, because I know a lot of times you go to choose one object and you're kind of vacillating between the two. So it is very possible for someone to see the other option that you had tried to decide on. But the more big of a deal you make of it, or the more you talk about that, the more of a possibility that becomes that someone's going to see that alternative one. On the other hand, I know that Michelle wanted to share that just in case someone was getting the other one. So if I were in her shoes, I would have, even knowing all this, I'd have to sit there like, gosh, do I say what the other one was or do I not? There's a lot of things where you pretty much have to be real careful, so that when you start dealing with time, it's like time gets fuzzy. It starts to get like watery and uncertain as we're moving back and forth on the timeline. Thank you, Michelle, for choosing this. This was an excellent choice, and I didn't even imagine you'd be able to send me a picture this quickly. So I appreciate that.
I'm looking at Teresa on the bottom. Her big red ball with liquid inside. That resembles my wine glass with
oh my gosh, wine inside. Yeah. That's
because it's a ball shape. It's the shape of a ball, and it's red wine.
Wow. And let me ask you, Michelle, do you have that right next to this object?
Yeah, I have it right with me.
Well, okay. And I didn't finish my thought earlier. I was kind of starting to type it, and then I sent it and realized I didn't really finish it. But I was seeing kind of a big red ball, rubber ball, squishy, filled with liquid, and then I saw this thing that was like, the rectangle with the buttons on the side and the black underneath and the white and the gray, and then after that, I was seeing more like a vase with liquid in it.
Wow.
So that's what I was gonna say earlier, is I saw this ball with liquid, and then later it was like a vase with liquid, and in the middle is when I saw this more calculator type thing.
Yeah, because my mind was set on, I was going to send the glass, but then you said make it more complex. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I changed it to the calculator.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if you had never even thought about the wine glass, just the fact that you have your glass next to it. Remember, people aren't just viewing the picture, but some of the people, their consciousness actually went over to where the calculator is. So, what you'll find
Yes.
when you do this kind of thing is that they will see the other objects in the room. I've had that happen so much to the point that if I know I'm going to have like students remote view an object that I'm holding, I will go and clean up my room first, because I've had it many times where I chose one object and they started to describe my whole room. If it was messy, they saw it was messy. And even like a couple times, this was so funny. One time I was having a student like describe, I don't know, I had some kind of box. Well, not only did he describe the box, but he was like, I see this lady holding the box, and like she's got blonde hair, but it's like in a messy ponytail, and she's wearing these glasses, and she has no makeup on, and she looks kind of frumpy, middle aged. Well, he totally described me at the time because I hadn't like taken a shower or anything or fixed myself up. So I'm like, oh gosh, now I have to go like doll myself up, clean up my room before I even like have anyone. Now, even when I'm working on the phone, it kind of defeats the purpose of being on the phone where you don't have to care about that stuff. So it's really, really cool how this stuff works. Um, so we're past our time now, and I don't want to like exhaust anyone. I know some of you are on the East Coast. So I just wanted to throw out a couple suggestions. I actually on my website I have a some articles, and there's an article, and I'll just pull it up, that I wrote about viewing the future. And let me put you on mute again right now. It's a little noisy. Okay, sorry for all that feedback there. Okay, I'm going to my website. Let me see if I'm still sharing my screen. Yes. Okay, so under articles, recent articles, I have a bunch of them here, but there is an article somewhere in the middle, How to View the Future in 1 Minute or Less. And so what I did tonight was really prepare you to do these exercises on your own. And so I'll just go over real quickly. Children's textbook or photo book. You get a book with a lot of pictures in it, and you just decide, you get a big stack of plain paper. You choose randomly. I'm going to choose page 136. You write that at the top of your paper. You set a timer, sketch it out, and then you can see your feedback right away. I like to use photos work best, and children's like books, like history books, science books. Those are really good. National Geographic type books, magazines are good. Anything that has a picture. And you'll find even if you end up picking a page that didn't have a picture, you'll usually still view something about the concept of what was written about. Um, Predicting the next change in a TV show. That matches what we did with those 8 photos. This works terrific. You just sit in front of the TV and you say, I am going to see the next time. You could do it 2 ways. One is you can say, 30 seconds from now, I'm going to see something that flashes on the TV, or I'm going to see what comes up. The problem with that is sometimes a scene doesn't change in 30 seconds. So what I started to do was say, well, the next time the scene changes. So for example, if I was watching a movie, a cowboy movie, and these 2 guys were talking, and I said, I'm going to see the next thing that comes up. And then one of the guys jumped on his horse. So that was what I saw. And then I view it again and I said, well, the next thing I see is going to be like a guy sitting there with his legs crossed. So sure enough, like 30 seconds later, the guy showed up. Now, sometimes it won't be in the exact, it'll come a little bit later or so. And you don't want to let too much time go, because then it could kind of like start to seem like it, you were just sooner or later, maybe what you saw is going to appear. So you don't want too much time to go. But I explained that more in this article. Yard sailing or house hunting. The key here is change. So when I say yard sailing, I mean going to check out yard sales, or if you're house hunting, a situation where you're going to go to a new location, see things you don't know what you're going to see, or meet people you don't know what you're going to meet. This could work at a party too. If you, like, say, have been invited to someone's house and you've never been to their house before, view what you're about to see when you first get there. What are you going to see on the outside of the house? What are you going to see on the inside? A yard sale. What item are you going to notice? That's a cool one. So any situation where you're going to go into a situation, but there's a lot of unknowns there. Even like, what is a person going to look like? What are they going to be wearing? Your own future the next day. You can ask yourself to dream about this, or you can, before you go to bed, you can view, or when you wake up, you can say, what one thing that is really going to be noticeable and jump out at me can I see? And then you write it down. Viewing the page of a newspaper, choose a page, decide on a particular newspaper, decide on a page of the newspaper, decide what day it's going to be, and then go ahead and view it. I would say you can pick the front page, but sometimes if there's a lot happening in the news or some big events, you might anticipate it. So if you choose like page 5 or page 20, it's less likely to have news that is going to continue on during the week. So those are just some basic ideas. I'll open it up for questions and answers now. But what I just want to say about this is I have found that when I start to do this more and more, I get better and better at it. I start to have spontaneous experiences, and this is what is really setting you up for what just happened in this class. So even if you feel like you didn't have as much success as you had hoped for in this class, know that there's a lot more than happened tonight than just you getting information or practicing or feeling successful or not. This is hitting you on many different levels. And what this is doing is like priming you to just have these experiences spontaneously as you move into the future. And the more you do this, the more you're giving yourself permission to be able to access information like this. So now I will just open it up does anyone have any questions? And if anybody has to go at this point, feel free to go. But if you want to stay for some questions, I'll hang out for the next 10 minutes or so.
Are you going to do a class on speed reading people, and also do you have any recommendations on speed reading people? Do the practice.
That's a good idea. I think that I think during the class I have it entitled viewing people, fun with clairvoyance. And I think what I'll do is kind of have that as a theme where we read people really fast. So I think for that one, it's already on the schedule, but it doesn't say it's like speed reading. But I think I'm going to go ahead and add that. So that will be turning into people really quickly, as opposed to like in our clairvoyant programs where we take more time to read people. I also want to say to anybody that's not familiar with what we offer that we do have in July starting a full beginning clairvoyant program and advanced programs, both starting in July with discounts if you sign up before July 1st or before July 4th. And in those classes, you learn more techniques. Like I didn't really go into actual techniques for reading, but in those classes we do. Any other questions? No other questions. Alrighty. Well, I want to just thank you all for being here tonight. If anybody enjoyed this class and wanted to write a testimonial and email it to me, indicating whether or not you want your name used, that would be great. Or just if you wanted to just let me know what you thought, any suggestions for the future, anything that you did enjoy, just so I have a sense of what, to adjust, since this is the first time I taught the class. I would love to hear your comments. If you have anything you want to share with me, just email me at debracatz@yahoo.com. And okay, well, I'll let everyone go. Have a wonderful weekend or week. The next Friday evening class will be, I think, in 2 weeks. It's up on my website, but hope to see you there. And yeah, good job, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. Take care.
Thanks,
Thank
Deborah.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.